Her parents gave her away as a servant, but the snow-covered mountain widower gave her love. Year 1892. Her parents sent her away to a stranger's cabin deep in the snowy mountains. Elara thought it would be the worst winter of her life. But little did she know, it was the one that would change her forever. The mountains of Ashwood were silent under heavy snow, a white blanket stretching as far as the eye could see. Rowan's cabin stood alone on a ridge, smoke curling lazily from its chimney. The villagers had long whispered about the widowed mountain man. Rough, solitary, and almost unreachable. Elara shivered as she stepped inside the warm cabin, unsure if she would survive the harsh winter, or the stern gaze of her new master. Her first days were grueling. She chopped firewood, fetched icy water from a nearby river, and tended to the tiny garden outside, now mostly buried in snow. Rowan observed quietly, noting her determination. Unlike anyone he had met in years, she faced hardship without complaint, her quiet laughter echoing through the cabin like a small beacon of warmth. One morning, while collecting herbs from the frozen forest, Rowan looked at her and said, "These herbs could be useful in the village, and maybe we could sell them." Elara's eyes brightened. "I used to help my mother bake bread," she said. "We could make something to sell with the herbs. Cakes, breads, maybe even spiced teas." From that day, the cabin transformed. The smell of fresh bread and pastries soon filled the air, mixing with the faint scent of pine from the forest. Rowan chopped wood, carried baskets to the village, and helped manage deliveries, while Elara kneaded dough, arranged pastries, and brewed herbal teas. Their days were long, yet somehow the work brought them closer. They laughed at spilled flour, slipped on icy steps together, and learned to move in rhythm without words. The villagers soon began to notice the tiny cabin on the mountain. Word spread of the girl and the widower who sold fresh bread, herbal teas, and winter pastries. Customers came not just for the treats, but for the warmth they saw in the way Rowan and Elara worked side by side. Their teamwork became a small miracle amidst the harsh snow. As winter deepened, they began experimenting with new recipes. Snowberry tarts, cinnamon-spiced bread, herbal honey tea, all crafted together. Elara found herself waiting for Rowan's opinions, and Rowan noticed every small detail in her care. The way she braided scarves for the cold, or how she would pause to admire the snowfall outside the cabin. In moments like these, the icy barrier around Rowan's heart began to soften. One evening, a blizzard trapped them indoors. Snow piled against the windows, and the village market was closed for days. To pass the time and keep their spirits high, they baked together. Flour floated in the air, cocoa dripped onto aprons, and for the first time, Rowan reached for Elara's hand. She didn't pull away. The warmth of her touch melted years of solitude and grief, and in that moment, they both realized that something had begun between them, a love neither had expected. The following weeks were filled with small joys and discoveries. Elara noticed Rowan's gentle nature behind his rough exterior, the way he cared silently but deeply. Rowan admired her resilience, her laughter, and the courage she showed in a world that had often treated her unfairly. Together, they ventured to the village for supplies, balancing baskets of goods while navigating icy paths, teasing each other and learning how effortless life could feel when shared. Their winter business thrived. Villagers came to the cabin not only for bread and teas, but to see the pair who had found joy together despite hardship. And for Elara and Rowan, every baked loaf and brewed tea was a step closer to building a life together. The turning point came when a sudden snowstorm blocked all roads. They were forced to stay indoors for 3 days. With nothing but the fire, ingredients, and each other's company, they spent the days baking, talking, and laughing. Rowan finally spoke of his late wife, and the grief that had kept him alone for so long. Elara shared her fears and the pain of being sent away by her parents. Instead of sadness, these conversations wove them closer. making them realize they had become each other's home. By the time winter began to thaw, their little mountain cabin was a place of warmth, laughter, and life. Elara and Rowan had not only built a thriving winter bakery, but had also discovered the deeper joy of companionship and love. The villagers often told stories of the girl and the widowed mountain man who braved the snow together, turning hardship into hope and isolation into connection. Even when the snow melted, the paths they had walked together remained a testament to their journey. What began as exile and loneliness had transformed into partnership, laughter, and love. Elara had found a life she was meant to live. Not through comfort or luxury, but through shared work, shared warmth, and the quiet, steady love that grows when two people face life together. The mountains remained snowy each winter, but inside the cabin, warmth never faded. And in that warmth, a love story had quietly, unassumingly flourished. A story that would be told for generations.